Thank you. So I'm Revd Tina Molyneux. I'm going to be talking to you about the progress that we've made in the discipleship working group. I'll be covering the background and purpose of the group, which is led by Olivia Graham, Archdeacon Olivia Graham, and our lead advisor is Andrew Anderson-Gear. It's made up of lay chairs and clergy, area deans. So we've got a group right from across the diocese who've been inputting into this group. I'll go through the background and purpose. I'll update you on our considerable progress. Focus then in on just one aspect of what we've been piloting, which is personal discipleship plans. And then Toby Wright will talk to you about a pilot that we've been doing in Witney, and he'll share with you his experiences there. So, bit of background. There was a survey done that informed the Setting God's People Free report to General Synod in 2017, and that covered nearly 3,000 people. These were leaders in their churches. These were people who'd been involved in their churches for more than 10 years. And yet, 59% of them said that church does not equip them well for life in today's world, at home or for them at work or elsewhere. This has really informed us and made us, we've been reflecting on this all of the time. This is informing the work of our discipleship group. Luckily, those same nearly 3,000 people were asked, well, what do you want? What would equip you to be more confident in your everyday lives? They were asked what support and resources they would like. And they said that they wanted support for discovering vocation and their gifting. This is gifting and vocation of lay people, of all people. They wanted opportunities and encouragement to step into these areas and connections to be made with them so that they could share with others and be encouraged by other people. And they wanted easy to access practical training for lay people's callings and their development. Not just training, they wanted development and ongoing learning. So we've kept, this is a 36-page report, the Setting God's People Free report, you'll remember, but we've managed to encapsulate it. I think most of the significant points are there on that slide. And that's really our agenda for working. So we've come up with ideas and pilot solutions which cover discovering vocation and gifting, which give small group resource and large group ideas for opportunities, encouragement to step into new areas of gifting for lay people, to make connections and be encouraged. So we've got fire pits, we've got small group where we share everyday faith stories in fire pits. That's being piloted across the diocese. And David Haywood is leading on the training. He's reviewing in 6 months, he's reviewing training. Training is no longer going to be a one-size-fits-all, it's going to be flexible. He's listening and adapting the training solutions and talking to you. He's keen to talk to you all about those over the next couple of days. So the overall purpose of the working group was to see the whole people of God enabled to feel confident and equipped to live out the good news in all of life, Sunday to Saturday. Our focus is about equipping people for everyday faith. You'll notice I'm using the term everyday faith because Setting God's People Free seems to be a bit of a mouthful, and most of the dioceses, often the other dioceses that we've been sharing learning with, we're now referring to Setting God's People Free as everyday faith. So this has caused us to reflect on what the church does when it's gathered to equip people for being sent out. And this is deep. We realise that this is requiring deep, significant cultural change. Lay people and clergy need to work together to work out how we can make an impact for the sake of the kingdom. People are not confident in their everyday lives. What can we do differently when we're gathered to equip people for their sent-out lives? So we're going to talk to you a little bit about personal discipleship plans, which is just one way that we're trying to explore this. I worked with Personal Discipleship Plans. We developed them and we've trialled them extensively in Berkshire with over 100 people over the last 12 months. And then since January, we've extended that pilot and we've now got pilots across 20 different churches across the whole diocese where we're trialling personal discipleship plans. So what is it? Well, you've all got a copy of the Personal Discipleship Plan in your conference packs, and it's now available online. You'll see Pathways is now going to be live. Each edition of Pathways will have an article about everyday faith. It will give you indications of what our new resources are. There are ideas of how people can get in touch and identify with what their giftings are each time the editions come through. So the Personal Discipleship Plan is a framework for an accompanied faith journey. That's at its simplest. It starts with a long conversation. And by the way, every person I've gone through more than 100 of these conversations, and for every person I've gone through them with, it's the first conversation they've had of this nature, just about them, what they're passionate about, what they're gifted in, what they love to do, what their ideal future would look like, where they've been and what their experiences are in life, all about them, without an agenda, without being given a job. And no matter how long that person has been in the church, I've met people who are newly baptised or, who are, let's say, further along in their journey. And for all of them, they've just really flourished in having that time to talk about what God is doing in their lives. They're then given a mentor, and we explore those sorts of their gifts, their experiences and their passions, and then meet again. We invite the Holy Spirit into the conversation, we pray together, and then we identify just a couple of next steps. One next step we've learned must always be something to fuel your inner life, your daily practices, your rhythm of prayer, and we've got resources again now that are online on that same Pathways Personal Discipleship Plan page. You'll see lots of resources and new apps and Bible reading notes, lots of ideas to help people for next inner steps. And then an outer step. How do you explore your vocation? These are varied greatly, the outer steps. It's hard to generalise what a personal discipleship plan would look like, but even in my own small church, we've got people with next steps focused on becoming a foster carer, setting up community breakfasts. We've got someone who's just been reassigned. He works for the Cabinet Office in London. He's a civil servant, and he's just been assigned on to Brexit. And he's saying, what does that mean for my Christian life? That's the sort of, That was an interesting one. But in general, every single personal discipleship conversation is enlightening, it's enriching and rewarding for both parties. This is what people are saying. These are genuine comments that people are saying about the personal discipleship plans. I know Toby has would like to share with you. This is a quote that we're attributing to you, Toby, but come and share your experience.
Always dangerous.
Yes, I know.
So just to really sing Tina's praises, it's a brilliant process. We have trained between 15 and sort of 12, 15 mentors in Witney. We've now had over 50 people use the process. And the idea is you go back and see your mentor kind of 2 or 3 months later and review that. It's been used by young people. It's been used by people in their 80s, 90s. Everyone is very, very different. And the response has been 100% positive. For me, it's one of the things which has really transformed ministry where I am. We're now rolling it out across the deanery. Tina came and did a teaching program for, I think, about 30 mentors recently in another church. We've got 3 or 4 other churches lined up. We're going to be using the mentors who've already done it in the local context more widely across the deanery, so we're sharing resources. And it's a really transformative way to help people look at their own discipleship. Those who are mentors are really excited by it because it's getting them to ask the questions which they're really passionate about and want to do in ministry, but get sucked off and taken in different directions sections and really helps people to go deeply within their own vocation. And we encourage all of the mentors to also get a mentor themselves, so they're learning and growing in their own discipleship. And that's been a really refreshing process. So I warmly commend it. Do come talk to me if you'd like to find out more.